You find me on a very windy Sunday afternoon in the cover of my garage, whipping a wheel off, having a look at tyres as well. I'm about to replace my tyres and looking at this inner edge. It's about time too, because even when you look from the rear you don't really get a proper feel for the condition. But you can probably see there, there's definitely some inner wear going on that's more, which I think is quite common. These are the Contis, but I can't remember which ones they are. Continental, is it Contact 2s? I can't remember, let me have a look. It just says Continental. I know they're old, these are about 7 years old, these tyres, so they're more than ready for replacement. There we go, 3913, which I was aware of. I've pretty much decided that I'm going to go for Michelin Pilot Sport 2s. Pretty much decided, he says. I kind of want to go for something a bit more uncompromising, more compromising, as in less of a normal road tyre. I've been looking at the Michelin Cup 2s, but they don't do a 295, they do a 285, well in 18s anyway, they do a 295 in 19s, but obviously I've got 18s. And these are 11-inch wide rims, according to, I didn't actually realise, but it's only after reading another post. It puts it just next to the valve there. I presume the 45, is that something to do with offset, and 11 being the, you probably can't see it there, but here it says 11, which is the rim width. So yeah, they do a 285. And I had a look at the actual overall, other than being obviously 10mm narrower, but there's very little difference in the actual rolling radius between a 295 and the 285. I think at 60 miles an hour I would be doing 59.5 miles an hour, so to me that's nothing. I think it adds up to about 2.5 miles an hour flat out. If I was doing the maximum 174, I'd be doing about 171.5 miles an hour, which to be quite honest doesn't really worry me. So I'm kind of contemplating, I know that people say you've got to stick with the N-rated tyre, but to be quite honest I can't see a Cup 2 being a problem. I have to check with my insurance. Some people say, oh, you're not covered, but I don't see that. I can't see a manufacturer like Michelin producing a tyre as good as the Cup 2 that is going to be classed as being unsafe or unroadworthy from an insurance standpoint on a car of this age. I just don't see it. So I'd like to go for something a little bit more sticky and less of an all-round, because this isn't going to get driven in the winter. I'll just spin my camera around. Yeah. So yeah, it's not going to get driven in the winter. And it's not going to get driven in the wet that much either. If I'm caught out in the rain, we've got a place in the Lake District, so obviously I'm going to be taking it up there. Certainly now for the summer, now things are starting to get a little bit more normal. And if it rains, obviously I won't go as mad, because I'm sure the Cup 2s aren't as good in the wet, especially very wet conditions, as a Pilot Sport 2 would be. But I kind of fancy going for something a little bit more special, considering I'm probably going to be doing 3,500 miles a year, maybe more. I mean, short for 6, so they're not going to get huge use. The other option was, I was thinking of going really silly and putting R888Rs on, which I run on my Integra Type R, well R888s on my Integra actually, which is the original, and they've been replaced by the R888R. So they do those, and they are cheaper, well they're a bit dearer than the Pilot Sport 2s, but they're cheaper than the Cup 2s. and they do them in the 295 as well. I think they're around about 230. Actually no, they're about the same price actually then as a PS2. So yeah, I don't know really. I'm drawn to the stickier rubber for obvious reasons, and I don't mind that it would be compromising winter or the wet, because like I said, it's not going to get much use in that. So, but I just thought I'd whip my wheel off just to have a look behind, and really I'm just wanting to look at condition of suspension bump stops, which look like they've been done previously, which doesn't surprise me. Suspension overall looks good, there's certainly no leaks and it feels right. These are a bit rusty and have been welded because I know they can split. This is the factory sport exhaust, which I'm kind of want to leave alone really. I like the sound of it. I've got it permanently in the open position. Now, previous owner said that there is something that you unsolder which keeps it permanently in that position and doesn't matter what you do with the button. I don't know whether that's true or not, or whether it's just the fact that, which is quite common, that the actual valve is seized, which I know is quite common, and they're seized in the open position, which I don't mind because I do think it sounds so much better. I've been looking at other alternatives, and I know there are some switchable systems out there, but I don't fancy spending 1,700 to 2.5 grand to replace something that currently is okay. I mean, my manifold looks old but not knackered, and there's nothing blowing or leaking, so I'm probably best just to leave it alone, to be quite honest. I'm going to be whipping off the silencers anyway, just because I want to pull the coil packs out and also pull the plugs and have a look at the condition. The plugs have been done, but going back to, if you've watched the other videos, I am using a bit more oil than is normal, not a ridiculous amount, but it's had a bore scope done 2,000 miles ago, and that was clear. So there are obviously lots of other things that could be causing it, but I want to see if the plugs are oiling up. It runs fine. I don't have any problems with the running of it, but I just want to have a look. So there's a local chap who independent, who does mobile work, and he's got several push 911s on the books, so I'm going to get Phil to is it Phil? I believe it's Phil actually. Anyway, no, Dave. I think it's Dave. To have a look. So I think it'll be just jack the thing up in the air. One of the things I wanted to ask about, and I would like some feedback on, what are other acceptable axle stand points once you've got it jacked up? Obviously, I've got it jacked up, and I've got nothing else underneath it at the minute. That's why I'm not getting underneath. I've got some axle stands coming, some new ones, the ratchet ones that as you take them up, you know, they ratchet so they don't drop down again. Is this area here an acceptable point? I just want to know really whereabouts it's safe for me to put a stand under. So maybe here where this actual join is, that'll look safe, or possibly here. Hopefully I'm pointing the camera at the right bit. Yeah, so anyone who knows, who can give me any feedback on that, would be appreciated. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, the manifolds look fine. Like I say, they'll be original, I'm sure, and they're a bit flaky where they actually attach onto the block, but it's not blowing, and you know, there's no real problem. So I think for now I will leave it alone, because if I do change things, I am going to want to do it and make sure I get something that sounds even better, or at least as good. And if I am going to do anything, I'm probably going to put a nice tubey manifold on at the same time. But again, cheap ones are crap, the good ones are expensive. You do get what you pay for. I've learnt that by putting cheaper items on in the past. I stuck a cheap manifold on my Integra years back in 2012 I think it was, just because I was skint at the time, and it lasted quite well. Oh, well, I'm saying it lasted quite well. It didn't do a huge amount of miles, but last year when I went with the Renault Clio Trophy Owners Club on the Welsh weekend, I did crack it. So I've now put a Skunk 2 Alpha on there, which is a completely different level of build quality. It's fantastic, beautiful welding, much thicker, much better quality stainless steel. I'm saying it's stainless steel, I'm sure it is stainless steel. Yeah, so much better. But you know, that's a 6, is it 6 or 500? No, it's about 500, 480, something like that pound manifold. So not cheap, you know, even for a 4-banger. It's still quite an expensive thing, and obviously on here I've got 2 manifolds, so I'm not expecting to, obviously, to get something cheap that's going to be good quality. But for now I'll just leave it alone, I think. Bushes, etc., everything seems alright under here. Sorry about that, battery ran out because I had the lamp on. Yes, I'm not quite sure where I got up to when it ran out. So yeah, front end, there's no creaks. Like, I know you get creaking noises when the bushes start getting weak and a bit blown all over the place. Yeah, I know you can get creaking noises. It's not doing that, but when I go over, do you know, like when you go over a surface that's got lots of like lines in it, you get that kind of washboard effect. It just sounds a bit rattly. Doesn't seem that anything's loose, but I think I'm going to have to go and get it up on ramps at my local independent that I use for general stuff, and Matt there is very helpful and accommodating. So he said if I want to put the car up when he's a bit quieter for 20 minutes and take some pictures of the underside, he said no problem, I can do that. So I'll probably do that. There's bound to be something. I know this has had, is it lower coffin arms I think they're called? They've been done, some other bushing at the front's been done. Everything at the back here looks good. I think it's had quite a few of the rear bushes done, and it certainly looks nice and clean underneath, which is, I knew it was, but it's nice when you get a wheel off to have a proper look. Also, brakes, all the brakes have been done. They're 2,000 miles old, discs all round, it's had pads, calipers were a bit mucky, but certainly in nice clean condition. So yeah, pleased with that. So it's just tyres. What do I do with tyres? I don't know. I know that Pilot Sport 2s are a good choice. They're a great all-rounder. They'll be better than these. These Continentals, it just says Continental on them. It's not a contact sport or whatever they call it. And I'm sure they're, you know, they were okay when new, and they're not bad now, but it doesn't feel quite that planted. Also, left side, front and rear, over a period of a couple of weeks I lose about 5 psi. I don't think it's a slow punch or anything. I think it's just the tyres, the seating on the actual rim, or possibly the valves, but obviously that will all get cleaned and redone, and new valves when I get these tyres on. So I'm 90% certain I'm going to probably put Pilot Sport 2s on. But that 10% of me wonders. I know that the 285s will go fine on this 11-inch rim. It won't be a problem, it won't be too narrow. Like I say, there's 10mm difference. But I believe when they're on, because I looked at I think it was an American site that gave the actual cover when it's fitted on the actual rim, and I think it was less than 10mm. So I think now, is it 0.4 of an inch? What's an inch? Actually, that's probably not far of 10mm actually. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I could seek some advice on that. I don't mind putting a 285 on. In fact, when I put the registration number into a lot of the tyre sites, it comes back with the 265 for this car. even though it's a 4S, I don't really understand that. The front, it comes back correct, the 225 40/18s, but the rears, it comes back 265. Now whether that's what they put on the Carrera or Carrera 4, the non-S, I don't know. But again, 265 is not a narrow tyre. These are 295. So yeah, I don't know. Cup 2s, less tread on them from new, but a lot stickier, a lot more of a no compromise kind of tyre, which is why I'm drawn to putting them on. Pilot Sport 2s, still good tyre, probably a bit more sensible. And in fact, weirdly, well not weirdly, but quite a difference. The 295 PS2, around about £230, including VAT, supply only, whereas the 285 I can get for 171 quid. So quite a difference between the two really, just dropping down to a 285. Now obviously I wouldn't, just to save best part of, what's it, 50 or 100 quid, I'd probably just stick with the 295s, but for 10mm difference, I was quite surprised on the difference there between the two, 285 to 295. It's probably got something to do with the fact that, and that's N-rated as well, the 285s, but it's probably because they know that the 295 goes on the Porsche, and they know they've got pretty much a captive audience for the kind of people who are going to buy them, so they charge more for them. I suppose that's the way it goes, isn't it? So, yes. Give me your thoughts, please. I'm going to upload this tonight, Sunday, I think, and I really would appreciate if people are already using Pilot Sport 2s, what their thoughts are on them. I did look at Pirellis, etc., and I liked stuff like the Trofeo, is it Trofeo R? But they're expensive. They're like 360 quid a tyre for the rears. Don't think I want to spend that much, to be quite honest. If I go for the PS2s, I can get them for £671 delivered, and then my local friend with the garage, he's a tyre man, he'll be able to fit them for me and balance them, so I'll probably give him the business and just get them supply only. So yeah, I'll wrap up now, and please comment and let me know what you think.